Ladies and gentlemen, some of you might be thinking that we are here to talk about the sequel of the famous Bollywood movie, Two States. Sorry to disappoint you. We are not here to talk about that. If you are thinking that we are talking about the border between Delhi and Haryana, sorry, we are not even going to talk about that. However, we are here to talk about something perhaps even more important, and that is our brains. Now, if I give you a gift, a supercomputer, and that supercomputer has the state of the art features, it has the most amazing processor, and it also has an amazing memory. But there's only one problem: you don't know how to use it. How much of a importance it is going to be for you? I don't think it will be of any use to you, correct? Our our gods have given us a beautiful supercomputer in the form of our brains. We can use it to become the most rich or the most famous or the most fulfilled person on earth. However, nobody ever told us how to use the brain. So, friends, today in this session, we will use the time to build our awareness of the key parts of the brain which produce our behavior. The brain is the most brilliant instrument. It can help us synthesize, reason, recall, and imagine at an extraordinary pitch and rate. We tend to trust it immediately and innately, and we are often proud of it as well. This topic will help you understand your own brain, the gift from God, and help you change your behavior. What you see on the screen is your ancestor. I live in a cave. I love to eat meat. I love gathering food. When I see a tiger, I run away. That's my flight mode. When I see a goat, I attack it. That is my fight mode. When I have to present a speech in front of an audience, I freeze. That is the famous fight, flight, and freeze system. That's really the system which has helped humankind survive over the ages. That's because our unconscious brain is constantly thinking about the two states: threat and reward, threat and reward, threat and reward, threat, reward, threat, reward, threat, reward. That's almost 5 times every second. Our brain is analyzing the environment and telling us signals for threat, reward, threat, and reward. Now, what you see on the screen in the red colored section is the prefrontal cortex. This is that part of the brain which makes decisions constantly. When it's not making a decision about changing the world, it is perhaps thinking and rationalizing why buying that dress on Myntra is the best thing for me to do. The prefrontal cortex is either way always making decisions. Next up, and in the deeper part of your brain, is what makes you fall in love or makes you rage if your friends are not talking to you. That's called the limbic system. It is your emotional center. Inside of the limbic system is an part called amygdala. Amygdala is that part of the brain which directs the blood flow into your body. Now, why am I telling you all this science? And I've not been a science, biology or a human anatomy student myself, and I find it extremely difficult to understand those terms. So to remember this easily, you can think of your brain as your best pal, or it can be your worst enemy as well. If you consider your brain as your pal, then remember it as P for prefrontal cortex, A for amygdala, and L for the limbic system. Now, the prefrontal cortex, the decision making part of the brain, needs blood flow in order to function properly, just like all other parts of our body. And it is the amygdala which supplies us blood. If I ask you, when was the last time you had a brilliant idea? I'm sure you will tell me that it was when I was jogging, or when I was sleeping, or when I was in the bathroom. That is the time when our brain is completely relaxed and in a reward state. That's when amygdala is sending a good supply of blood to the prefrontal cortex. Now, what happens when we are in a state of threat? Let's say if I have to give a table topic speech, the amygdala directs the flow of the blood away from the prefrontal cortex. So I'm unable to decide properly. And I instead direct my blood to heart and lung and my limbs. That worked fine in the earlier ages, in the ancient times, when it was all about fighting or getting into a flight mode, but it doesn't work very well in the modern age. What do we do when we are in a situation of threat? How do we keep our brain in a reward state? First, most importantly, recognize that your brain has entered a threat state. That is half the battle won. And once you've recognized that, then put your brain from the threat state into a reward state. The best ways for you to put your brain in the reward state is to notice your emotional reaction. It could be, taking a walk, or getting some fresh air, having a cup of tea. And secondly, take a brain break. It is said that you should take a brain break every 90 minutes, which is when you should not do anything. Basically, free your brain from the thing that is bothering you, relax, get some fresh air, do deep breathing, meditation, and any of those things. Today, what have we learned? We've learned that each one of us possesses a personal supercomputer, which is nothing but our brain. It always oscillates between two states: threat and reward, threat and reward. And it is important for us to observe and recognize those states. Our brain can serve as our best pal. P for prefrontal cortex, A for amygdala, and L for the limbic system. And if we know how to use our brain, then we can work wonders. Today, later in the day, you will get into a situation where you find yourself in a state of threat. Go and take a brain break. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.